r/datingoverthirty. Lee2412 says, seeking advice on dating burnout. 37F and I'm so burnt out on dating and have all but gave up hope that I will ever find a meaningful relationship. I do want to keep trying, so I'm here posting. I find it so ironic that we are wired for human connection, but yet it is so difficult to find it. Probably more so than ever. The most recent relationship I was in was only 3 months, and he suddenly got cold feet and completely disappeared after telling me he was in love with me. Before that it was 2021. All the people in between are just looking for sex or are so inconsistent. It's been a common theme that I feel treated as an object, ESP with old. Several men have told me they can't take me seriously because I'm too attractive. I don't know what I can do with that. I don't wear revealing clothing or speak sexually. I think this is what's contributing to my burnout the most. I just want to be treated as a human, not an object. I know that we are all frustrated, but I have never felt like this before in my life. I've tried apps, I meet people, when I go out, any place you can think of, and it all ends the same. I've tried dating outside of my type, and older, or younger than I usually prefer. I've tried dating guys who I'm not as physically attracted to, but they have many other redeeming qualities. I do take breaks when I feel frustrated and try to come back to it, but it's the same cycle when you do. Please, no one said you'll find it when you least expect it, or when you're not looking for it. It's not helpful for the situation. Please also be kind. This was a vulnerable post for Vivian says, I'm going through this as well. The burnout is real. It's okay to take a break. In fact, I would recommend you do that and focus on some self-care for at least a few weeks. Remember that if you're doing your best, communicating, and being present and available, it's often the other person who is the problem. I've come across so many men who appear to have it all, yet suffer from clear unresolved trauma, therefore using me as a personal therapist. Lol. Ghosting at that age. And those who are just incompatible. I try to make clear boundaries for myself, to not wallow in the negativity that they cause. Some are harder than others to get over because I felt like I was attracted and falling in love. Online dating itself is still a fairly new thing. We are the first generation to ever do this, and it goes against human nature, seeking emotional connection, scrolling through humans like some kind of lottery machine. I mean, come on, I haven't figured it out, but I've benefited a lot from listening to psychologists and dating coaches. The Perils Masterclass is one I like to go back to when I'm feeling lost. There's another named Logan Nuri who has videos talking about attachment theory and the mistakes we are repeating in dating, which I've found insightful. She also has a dating boot camp which I'm curious about, though I can't vouch for it or tell you if it's worth the money. However, if you've hit a wall, then there's nothing to lose. I'm considering it myself. Sometimes the best thing is to join a club or take a class where you can just meet people and bond over an interest. I've met guys in the most unexpected places, including on a flight and in the supermarket. Be open to receiving what the universe gives to you, and always remember to put yourself first. Experiencer should says. Reading your post, I had some ideas. 1. Be very honest with yourself about what could have gone wrong in the relationships you had. Were you E.G. too demanding, too busy, in a bad place with work, etc.? Everyone can improve. I know in my last situation, I was feeling down about work and quite negative. 2. I wonder if you want it so badly that you're sending out signals that make you luck needy, even if you're not. Concentrate on where you put your energy. Don't keep flogging away at friendships, relationships, or any situations that don't return joy. 3. Set some goals outside of dating. Start a new hobby, do a course. Imagine you weren't going to meet someone, what would you want your life to look like? 4. Go on a big trip. There are lots of group tours for over 30s available online. This will open up your world. r/datingoverthirty. Southwest Photo says, only getting attention from older women. First off, I'm not intending for this to be a rant, I'm trying to gain some perspective. I'm a 34-year-old male, and in the past year of trying to date I have only gotten interest from women that are in their 40s or above. Unfortunately, I would really like to date someone closer to my age in the 30s range. It's not that I don't find these women attractive, I just never seem to connect or vibe with them when I have gone on dates with them in the past. I'm a little lost as to why I'm only getting attention from them. For while I was paying to see who likes me on the apps, and lately I've just lowered my expectations and started swiping more on women in their 40s. I don't really feel very good about it and don't want to lead anyone on. I'm trying to rack my brain on why this is happening. Just wondering if anyone else had this happened and did anything to change it. House of Bridget 11 says, I will give you a perspective from a mid-40s woman who sometimes goes out with men 10 years younger. We have the same problem. I'm swamped by men in their 20s and 50 plus, with fewer options around my own age. I can't confirm if it's sample size or that attractive 40-year-old men are also aiming younger. I prefer not to date much older right now. I've had several FWBs in their late 20s, but I would prefer to date, even casually, someone who appears closer to me in age. That usually leaves the attractive mid-30s guys to go out with. I would expect they sort of feel like they are settling, like you, and I know from the outset that it can't really turn into anything serious, so it's not ideal for me either. Ivan & Co says, what dating apps are you using? Coming from someone that previously used Hinge, Bumble, and Coffee Meets Badger, set your filter parameters to the age range you want to date. I've only found that your filter range also limits your profile from only being seen by individuals within your set parameters. Don't want to see or receive interest from 40s or above. Set your age range properly. Peachy_penguin1 says, yikes. I don't know why you're exclusively getting attention from women older than you, but the way you're talking about them is a bit gross. Lowered expectations and swiping on them, even though you're not interested. A 40-year-old is 6 years older than you and your peer. If you don't want to date them, then choose different age settings. Edit, this is happening because Op adjusted his age filter, so women in their 40s are seeing and swiping on his profile for the first time, whereas women in their 30s had already swiped because they were within his previous age filters. This isn't about the women or age, it's about Op's filters. Truth Several says, why don't you filter by age on the apps, then you won't see matches past the age you desire. Tildetot says, some of the comments in this thread feel judgmental. If I was a 34 years old woman, I wouldn't want like from guys in the 40s. We all prefer close to our age. He doesn't suggest in any way they're used up etc. It's okay to have preferences. I'd filter out, and if you're on Hinge, put it as a deal breaker. What's your current age range set as? Narrow it down as much as possible. I also find trying sending out like, based on the age range you want. Hinge used to be good at picking up my age preferences in the algorithm and pushing me out more in that direction. r/datingoverthirty. Future Pilopa 28 says, not sure where we go from here. Okay, so I 37 male, recently met 34 female, on old about 2 months ago, and things had been going really well up until last week. We've been on several dates, long walks, talks, and even spent a weekend away together a couple weeks back. It just feels so comfortable when we're together, and we've been open about what we're both looking for. She told me the other week that she has feelings for me, and I felt ready to say the same back to her. Both agreed we should take things nice and slow. She has 2 kids from a previous marriage, a 9 and 10 Y/O. Up until recently she had a good arrangement splitting time equally with her ex to share time with the kids, but has now making life difficult for her to move on and part ways. Selling the family home is going to get especially messy. He now wants to move back to his hometown, and so it's all up in the air about what happens to the kids and where she chooses to live next. This town is about 3 to 4 hour drive away, so it's possible she'll have to move to be closer if she can't afford to continue living near me. She sent me a long message last Friday explaining everything and to say that with all that's going on and the uncertainty it's best we stop dating and just be friends and keep in touch. Said I was a great guy, a great catch, and even said she loves me as a person. I was upset, but equally fully understanding of her situation. She needs to put herself and her young kids above everything else. I made it clear to her that if she just needs some time I can wait. I'm in no rush to go anywhere. I kind of expected things to drift apart after that, as I've been down this road before when after a period of time the other says they just can't commit to a romantic relationship. And then the show's over. But we've still been messaging each day. Just general stuff like hey, what you up to, how's your day going, etc. It's clear to me that I'm still on her mind a lot, but it kinda feels like I'm in some kind of in-between zone where we haven't broken up fully, but aren't dating either. Like I'm in a waiting room not sure what happens next or even when I'll see her again. I really don't want it to end with her and just go on being friends. I've been friend-zoned a lot, and it's a terrible place to be when you really like someone. But what do I do during this period of being in this kind of limbo? I feel like the best thing for me to do is just go at her pace. Keep conversation going and wait to see what happens next. Or am I just kidding myself and wasting my time with wishful thinking? Maybe the writing's on the Not the Fuzz 99 says. She's checked out. Time to go, no contact. If she's interested, she'll re-establish contact. But you hanging on in hopes that she'll come back around as friend zone behavior. Dry location 9176 says. She's banging several other dudes most likely and wants to get serious with one of them. Motherfrick, Inwify says. I really don't want it to end with her and just go on being friends. I've been friend-zoned a lot and it's a terrible place to be when you really like someone. But what do I do during this period of being in this kind of limbo? You don't have to end it with her because she already ended it. You're not in limbo. She ended the relationship. What probably happened is the ex caught wind of her finding a boyfriend through the kids and now he's decided to cause trouble. He's got her convinced that she's going to have to move across the state to be near him. He's not going to move. Once he decides that you're no longer around, her life is going to go back to normal. But where you're at right now is that you are willing to provide her the emotional support work of a relationship and she's not going to reciprocate. Probably through no fault of her own too. One day she might realize the game he's playing, but until then move on and find someone else to date. Hal Argent says. How long will it be until her situation is resolved? Can you, realistically, put an upper limit on it, or get her to put an upper limit on it? Uncertainty for a certain amount of time is a different matter from uncertainty that drags on. How long are you willing or able to stay in this uncertainty? Potential_coffee_587 says. This is a tough situation for everyone, but you need to put yourself first here. I would cut off contact, but make sure she knows that if in the future she is ready for a relationship to reach out. I had to do the exact same thing over the summer because I'm just not interested in being strung along. Thankfully I met an amazing man in September and things have been going great. Sometimes you need to let go of what's no longer serving you to make room for better things to come into your life. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.